Sitting alone at home, Wynne reflected on the journey she had embarked on, and she couldn't help but feel gratitude for having Raymond by her side. She knew she wouldn't have been able to do it on her own.
I'm going to be with you every step of the way, so don't worry, okay?
Raymond had reassured her then, and now it was official. Willow had officially changed her name to Wynne. 2 weeks ago, they had visited the courthouse to submit the necessary legal documents and fees for the name change. Raymond had stood by her throughout the court hearing and helped her with the process of updating government and financial records to reflect her new identity. So that was done. Wynne still struggled not to think of herself as Willow. Just yesterday at the coffee shop, she had been waiting to hear Willow, and it wasn't until the server called Wynne a couple times that she realized. Raymond had to go into work as usual, and with her job hunt still ongoing, Wynne had plenty of free time during the day. She was browsing through her old design work when she remembered Caspian. Remembering Tina's visit, Wynne had a feeling that the project for Leroy hadn't been done yet. She started to worry about it. Feeling indebted to Caspian for his help at the pub, Wynne believed that helping him with the project at Leroy Company was the least she could do. With this reasoning in mind, she made her way to Leroy Company.
Sorry, Mum, you have to have an appointment to see the CEO.
The receptionist informed Wynne. Wynne couldn't help but find the situation funny. She had encountered Caspian at a pub randomly, but now, to meet him formally, she needed an appointment. However, she wasn't about to give up.
If you tell him it's about the ad for the new diamond collection, I'm sure he'll want to see me.
He's not in his office right now.
The receptionist, Haley, as her nameplate indicated, replied with an air of disinterest.
Leave your card and I'll give it to him.
Did you say something about an ad for a new diamond collection?
A new voice joined the conversation, causing Wynne to turn around. A man in his late 30s, sporting a striking red suit, was standing behind her.
Hi, I'm Wynne.
She introduced herself. He extended his hand and she shook it.
Miss Wynne, I'm Jerry, the director of the design department. I think you should talk to me.
I can't stay long, but this is what I've worked on.
Wynne replied, handing him the USB drive containing the ad.
Caspian, Mr. Leroy liked it.
Jerry arched a questioning eyebrow.
Well, what is it?
Well, Leroy Company is planning to launch a new diamond collection, right? That USB contains the ad design for it.
Wynne explained.
Oh, and Caspian is aware that you worked on this?
Jerry inquired.
Well, kind of. Anyway, I worked on this for the project, and it's only right I let him have it.
Wynne replied.
Okay, can I have your card in case I need to contact you?
Wynne shook her head.
I don't have a card now, but...
She turned to the receptionist and requested.
Can I have a piece of paper and a pen?
When Haley provided her with the materials, Wynne quickly scribbled her phone number on it.
This is the number you can reach me on.
All right.
Jerry began to say, but Wynne was already walking away. Just as she was about to step out of the company building, her phone pinged with an alert. She glanced at her phone to see that the celebrity news website she followed on social media had just posted an article. As she read the post, Wynne's phone nearly slipped from her grasp. The headline read, Caspian Leroy and Giselle spark dating rumors after lunch date. Attached to the headline was a picture of Caspian and Giselle, an upcoming actress, seated at what appeared to be a restaurant. Caspian was leaning in close to Giselle and looked like he had been about to kiss her when the picture was taken. A gasp escaped Wynne's mouth as she processed the unexpected news. Without wasting any time, she quickly flagged down a taxi and made her way back home, her mind racing with questions and emotions about the photograph she had just seen.
Miss, you can't go in there.
Caspian's secretary cautioned, but it was too late. An enraged Giselle stormed into Caspian's office and tossed a newspaper onto his desk.
Caspian, what is this?
Caspian glanced at the newspaper, remembering the situation that caused this whole misunderstanding.
The Leroy Company would like you to be the face of the new collection we want to launch.
Just last week, Caspian had met with Giselle for business purposes. The actress was rapidly gaining popularity and had managed to stay clear of any scandals, making her an ideal choice for enhancing the company's image.
Does Leroy Company not have someone in their marketing department to do this?
Giselle inquired, arching a perfectly shaped eyebrow at Caspian. It was unusual for the CEO of such a prestigious company to personally handle business deals like this. They were inside a quiet and mostly empty restaurant.
Well, as much as I can, I like to get involved.
Caspian responded. Giselle nodded in understanding.
Caspian, can I call you that? Or would you prefer something more professional?
Anything is fine.
Caspian replied stoically.
All right, Caspian, it is. Why me?
Giselle pressed.
We have everything we need.
Caspian stated simply. She waited, expecting Caspian to elaborate further, but he remained silent.
Since you came to me personally, I can't exactly reject your offer, can I?
You can, but I just need to check something.
Caspian said, producing an item from his pocket. He held a diamond necklace and inquired.
Can I?
He leaned over Giselle and delicately placed the necklace around her neck.
Looks good on you. Are you ready to sign the contract?
Giselle was momentarily lost for words as Caspian's unexpected closeness took her by surprise. Her heart fluttered, but Caspian either didn't notice or chose to ignore the effect he had on her. He smoothly pushed the contract towards her, waiting for her to sign. With a nod, Giselle finally regained her composure and reached for the pen. With the contract signed and sealed, Caspian gestured to Giselle, saying,
You don't have to leave just yet, or anything you want. It's on me.
Afterward, he excused himself and left. That was the extent of their interaction, but somehow, the pictures circulating on social media painted a different picture, making it seem as though they had been on a date. Now, in the present, Giselle was furious and didn't even bother to take a seat.
The contract states that a party can file for termination if the other party does something defamatory.
She reminded Caspian, her anger evident.
Miss Giselle, please calm down.
Caspian urged, recognizing the need to diffuse the situation. Technically, this wasn't the fault of the company, but he realized there were various potential outcomes to this scenario and had to ensure it didn't lead to the termination of their agreement.
Believe me, this is a good thing.
Giselle shot him an angry look.
Do tell me how this is a good thing, Caspian.
It's quite simple.
Caspian began to explain.
People love drama, especially drama between couples. For the next month or so, all eyes will be on us. Consider it from a new perspective. Potential hires think we're a couple, and many people try to win my favor, which means they'll do the same for you. Just give it a few days, and you'll be receiving calls from numerous directors eager to cast you in their projects.
Giselle had calmed down, but she still regarded Caspian with a somewhat distrustful gaze as she pondered his words.
What does Leroy Company gain in all of this?
Caspian stood up and approached her.
People paying more attention to you means people paying more attention to us. Your fans will want to start buying our products. Everybody wins.
Is it really that simple?
She asked. Caspian remained standing in front of her and affirmed.
It is. And it'll be just for a little while.
Back at home, Wynne was ready to drown her frustration in a bucket of ice cream. Obsessively, she had gone through every comment under the post about Caspian and Giselle. I totally ship these two. Of course, a beautiful man should date an equally beautiful woman. Couple goals. Those were the majority of the comments, and it left Wynne feeling a little mad. It was just a random picture that could have been fabricated, but the public was eating it up, and that pissed her off. Just then, the door opened and Raymond walked in.
Who made you mad?
She showed him the post.
Unbelievable, right?
They're cute.
Raymond commented. Wynne felt a sense of betrayal.
It's not real.
You don't know that, Wynn.
Raymond replied before heading to the fridge for a drink of water.
He really looks like he was about to kiss her.
You don't know that.
Wynne shouted in frustration.
Wha? Who?
Raymond raised his hands in surrender.
Let's say you're right. Why do you even care anyway?
You won't understand.
Wynne replied, growing increasingly agitated. Ignoring Raymond's calls, she abruptly grabbed her phone and a jacket and stormed out of the house. As Wynne stormed out, her phone buzzed with calls from Raymond, so she put it on silent, tightened her jacket around herself, and began the walk to the pub. She knew she had overreacted, but the events of the day had left her feeling frustrated in ways she couldn't fully understand. Caspian had stood up for her twice now when nobody else would, first at work and then at the pub. She couldn't deny that she had developed feelings for him. Frustration boiled within her as she tried to shake off thoughts of Caspian and Giselle being a couple. Wynne ran a hand through her hair and let out a silent, frustrated scream, continuing her walk. As she neared the pub, she spotted a couple kissing on a street corner. Wynne resisted the urge to roll her eyes, only to arrive at the pub and find it closed. This time she screamed out loud, attracting looks from passersby.
Can I just stay here all night?
She muttered to herself, knowing it wasn't possible. Forget it. She was going back home. She flagged down a taxi, wanting to avoid the risk of seeing the kissing couple again. When Wynne returned home, she found Raymond pacing outside their shared apartment.
Where have you been?
He inquired, his tone carrying a hint of anger.
I just went out.
Wynne replied nonchalantly and tried to walk past him, but he grabbed her arm and pulled her back. It wasn't a rough grab, so she didn't fight it.
Why didn't you pick up your phone? I've been calling you.
He said, his worry and hurt becoming more evident. It was only then that Wynne looked into Raymond's eyes and realized how concerned he was.
I'm sorry for worrying you, Ray. I just needed to clear my head.
Without saying a word, Raymond pulled her into a comforting hug, and Wynne relaxed into it. Raymond was her only ally, the only person she could rely on at the moment, and she didn't want to push him away. She couldn't afford to lose him.
I'm sorry, Ray.
It's okay, Wynne. You've been under a lot of stress lately. Vent all you want.
He reassured her. He was always trying to comfort her, even when she was in the wrong. They stood in the hug for a while until Wynne began to feel the chill.
Hey, Ray, do you mind letting me go so we don't freeze to death?
She joked. Raymond laughed, patted her head affectionately, and released her.
Let's go up.
That night, they didn't watch television or indulge in junk food together. After returning to their apartment, they both retired to their respective rooms. Winnie lay on her bed, her gaze fixed on the ceiling, her mind swirling with thoughts of Caspian. Eventually, she turned to her laptop and began searching for job openings at Leroy Company. As luck would have it, there was an opening for the position of assistant to the CEO. Without giving it a second thought, she submitted her application and received an email almost immediately, inviting her for an interview the following day. She went to bed with a smile on her face, and when she woke up the next day, her smile was even brighter. Today marked the beginning of her journey to get closer to Caspian, and she had a good feeling about it. As she left her room, she found Raymond having breakfast.
You're up early,
He commented.
I have an interview today.
Wynne replied, moving to prepare herself a smoothie.
That's great.
Raymond sounded genuinely excited for her.
At which company?
Leroy.
She answered, studying his reaction, but his expression turned unreadable.
Good luck. I'll be heading to the hospital now. How about meeting at the pub later tonight?
Raymond suggested. Wynne nodded and replied,
Sure.
and drank her smoothie as she practiced answering interview questions online. Afterward, she took a shower and carefully selected her outfit. Finding the right attire was a challenge. She wanted something that would catch Caspian's attention, shallow as it may sound. Eventually, she settled on the perfect look, a green satin blouse paired with a gray pencil skirt and nude block heels. She added some light makeup and curled her hair for the finishing touch. Wynne opted to take a taxi to the company to avoid arriving in a sweaty mess. The receptionist, Haley, recognized her, and her demeanor was noticeably warmer this time.
Miss Wynne, you're here for the interview, right?
Wynne responded with a bright smile, saying,
Yes. Take the elevator to the 3rd floor. Mr. Leroy's office is the only one on the floor.
Acknowledging her with a brisk nod, Wynne entered the elevator. As she waited to reach her destination, she smoothed down her clothes and checked her teeth in the mirror.
All good.
She affirmed with a confident smile, just as the elevator doors opened on the 3rd floor.
Hello, I'm Wynne. I'm here for the interview with Mr. Leroy.
Wynne introduced herself to the secretary, who promptly made a call. Afterward, the secretary directed Wynne to proceed inside.
Thank you.
Feeling a sudden surge of nervousness, Wynne took careful steps until she stood in front of a door bearing the label Caspian Leroy, CEO. Inhaling deeply, she knocked and gently pushed the door open. Caspian was standing and gazing out the window when she entered. He turned around, momentarily surprised at seeing the woman from the pub, but quickly regaining his composure.
Miss Wynne, please have a seat.
He instructed, gesturing to a chair. She complied.
I reviewed your resume, and it seems to be quite sparse. You're what, 21, 22? What experience do you have?
I've dabbled in design, and I'm a fast learner.
Wynne replied with a smile, trying to sound confident. Caspian didn't appear convinced at all.
Why isn't that mentioned on your resume?
He asked, his tone probing. Wynne couldn't very well admit that she had worked at Tina's company, as that would give her away. She settled on saying,
It wasn't official work, sir.
Caspian gave a slow nod of his head.
To avoid wasting any more of our time, I'm afraid I'll have to reject your application. However, I'll offer you a word of advice. Build up your resume before considering applying to a company like Leroy. You're dismissed.
With those words, Wynn's dreams were shattered before they even had a chance to take shape. She tried to protest, her smile slipping.
But can I?
No,
Caspian interrupted sternly.
you shouldn't have even received an interview invitation. If you'll excuse me, I have a lot of work to attend to.
His gaze shifted toward the door, signaling that the interview was over. At this point, she had completely lost her smile. Hours after returning home, Wynn remained in a state of despair, her eyes red and swollen. An almost empty bottle of scotch sat on the table, a testament to her attempt to drown her sorrows. With her heavy heart, she sent a message to Raymond.
Let's hang out at home today. I don't feel like going out today.
Hours passed before Raymond responded with a simple okay. By 10 p.m., Wynn was completely drunk, unable to even stand up. Her phone played a playlist of sad songs that she sang along to, her voice wavering and out of tune. When Raymond arrived home and found her in such a sorry state, he was taken aback.
What the hell happened?
He exclaimed, sitting down beside her on the floor.
Caspian?
Rude.
Wynn slurred, her speech incoherent. Her brain was fogged by alcohol, making it difficult for her to form clear sentences. Raymond's concern grew as he asked.
When? How much did you drink?
Wynn repeated,
Caspian?
and then shocked Raymond by leaning closer and planting her lips on his in a drunken kiss.